All right, we're back with Steve Dawson on Country Pocket on WUSB. The new album is Ghosts, and you just heard Sooner Than Expected. Have you lost a lot of people in that sooner than expected, shocking sort of way?
Yes. Yeah. It seems like it's ongoing now. Um, we lost my beloved brother-in-law, Jose Gonzalez, early in the COVID pandemic. He was younger than me, healthy guy. That was tragic. And then my friend Ingrid, who sang on the record, died suddenly of a heart attack. And she was just barely 60. Steve Albini just died of a heart attack, and he was just barely 60. He's a sort of Chicago legendary recording engineer that it was beloved. Um, and then the other part of the sooner than expected is the the way that the climate and the weather is changing more rapidly than I thought was going to happen. I thought we had more time, but it seems like the sort of violent turbulence of weather is accelerating sooner than expected.
Yeah, I would say a lot of things are becoming more turbulent sooner than expected.
Right.
Do you do you find that there are ways that you can make peace with these things? Like you called your album Ghosts. How do you sort of make peace with the ghosts, whether they're as comparatively insignificant as one person or as grand as society or the very world we live in?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and it's it's a roller coaster. Some days you just sort of like take deep breaths and go on with your life and try to do what you need to do, what I need to do for the day. Try to enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy the people around me. Other days I'm filled with anxiety and unable to do much. So um, I would say I've not found peace really, but it's a ongoing process.
You find that there are, things you can do, places you can go to sort of, I don't know, whether it's take a moment to catch up with these people you've lost or take a moment to relax.
Well, talking to other people is helpful, like talking to people in real life, not on Facebook or Instagram. Like actually having conversations with people always feels sort of nourishing. Um, I teach songwriting classes at this place called the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago, and yesterday's class was more of a sort of group therapy session than a class. Although we got to everybody's songs, but we were talking about a lot of these things that we're talking about right now with a group of like 6 people, and it's very helpful to in real time breathing the same air talk to people about their how they're dealing and coping, and the insignificance of our individual lives in in the greater planet changing and all that is is actually sort of helpful. Like this is all part of a much bigger cycle. So that's helpful. Being in nature is helpful. We have a beautiful backyard, and just sitting and watching the birds and whatnot is helpful. So yeah, I
I
it's
just
a
want to
weird
zero
time.
in on that. The fact that our individual lives are insignificant is something you find helpful.
Yes, just in that you know I had this thought yesterday. Like human existence, if you look at a timeline of life on Earth, or just like human existence is this teeny tiny little blip and so that it takes the air out of like of ego and thinking, well, this is, this record has to be the best thing that's ever happened in the world. It's like, well, okay, it's just something I'm doing. And I want it to be the best I can make it. I want people to enjoy it. But in the long run, it has no, no significance whatsoever. And actually, that's kind of freeing to just think, well, okay, then it's just something I'm doing to do. And my anxiety over the overall the violence and the change of the you know planetary weather patterns is also very insignificant, and it is mine, and it is the only life I have. So that's you're going back, and I'm going back and forth between those two poles. But I actually focusing on my insignificance actually is helpful to me.
Yeah, I definitely can find some peace in terms of things like trying to put out a project. Like I'm just one person, but when it comes to things like civilization or the world, I find that there is no way for me to make them feel insignificant. Like the best I can do is, oh, we went through some dark ages before,
Right,
for the collapse of the Roman Republic, and a few hundred or thousand years later, things seem to turn out relatively okay for a little while. Like, I guess the best I can tell myself is, okay, we're going back into the dark ages for a bit.
right, yeah.
Eventually, something will come back,
Well, there is that, yeah.
but that's
Humans are problem
eventually.
solvers, so there will be solutions proposed. But yeah, for the next little bit, it's going to be rough.
Well, hopefully, like me, you found some good music that can.
Well, right. I mean, that's it. Human connections, the arts, those are the nature, those are the things to embrace.
I like to close my show out by having the guest pick a song, anything, as long as you were not involved in producing it.
Oh,
So
wow.
I just wanted to give you the prompt, something something that goes with our conversation, whether it's about finding solace and insignificance or
Oh, yeah.
ghost or about small town life. Just
What
tell
is
me what you
that?
got.
The song that comes to mind is a Sandy Denny song, and I have to look it up. The title, I always forget the title.
All right.
Oh, By the Time It Gets Dark. Do you know that song?
Well,
It's a beautiful song. By the Time It Gets Dark by Sandy Denny. Yola Tango did a really nice version of it as well. But I love her version. It's just her on a guitar. It's a very hopeful song.
all right. Let's have a little hope. Something that
Yeah,
conversation might have been a tiny bit short on. Steve
yeah.
Dawson, the new album is Ghosts. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.